Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another lesson in the Fiqh Jurisprudence series, lesson number 17. Lesson number 17. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa afdalu salati wa atamu taslim ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. So the author continues to say in Tayammum, dry ablution, wa fara'iduhu, and its obligatory intervals are arba'atu ashya, four things. And in some books it's 5 things. So we have here 4 things according to the text here. The first one is an-niyya, intention. Wa masul wajhi, then wiping the face. Masul wajhi. Wa masul yadaini ma'al mirfaqain, and wiping the hands until the elbows. And then finally, wa tartib, and order. So the first thing is, how do we perform tayammum? And that is, we'll come to these in details in a second, but the first thing is that we make that intention, and once we make that intention, we're going to have this earth dust in front of us, and we're going to strike it. So when we're striking it, the intention is going to take place as we strike it. And that 5th thing, by the way, that's missing, so that's included in other texts, is the transfer of the earth dust, the earth to our face. That's the first part. As we said, order in the end, so it's going to be face first, and then the hands up to the elbows. So there's only 2 limbs involved in tayammum, dry ablution, as opposed to in wudu, where we have, as you saw, 4 different types of limb parts. So here we're going to have the intention, and we're going to strike the earth, and we're going to have that intention all the way up until we touch the first part of our face. So when we strike it, now the parts, as you can see, what are touching each other right now, that we already struck the earth with it. Now we don't need to go over that again. So we're going to use that to wipe the rest of the thing. So the rest of the limbs. So the first one, is going to be the face. We go and either you just do your face like that, others will do it like this, for example. The main thing is, you don't need to go in every single part. It's just that one, and it's only once that we do it. We just wipe the face with the earth, and we're not trying to take so much earth. We just, so if you want to just drop off from your hands, you can perform that as well. And then we wipe the face, as I said. Next thing, again, we're going to have a second strike. So there's 2 strikes. The second strike, now we're going to do the hands to the arms, up to the elbows. And the first one, so we have our thumb here sticking out, as well as here. We've already wiped this part here. You can see it was touching at the moment. So that part of the thumb, that front area, is all done, as is all this palm. So now we turn over our hand, and we use the 4 fingers on this side and go all the way across the front of the arm, like this. And then once we've done that, then we bring the thumb part, which we haven't used yet, on the other side, up to the wrist, and the back of the thumb. Because remember, we did this and we didn't do this part here, the thumb. But when we do it at the end, it's like lift off. We go from here. Yeah. Similarly, on the next, we do the right first before left, as we come in the Sunnah acts of Tayammum. We struck it that once that we did strike it, so we don't have to strike again. Strike after that first strike. Now the right one, we haven't touched anything with this yet. We'll do the second side right up to the elbows. Bring our thumb across onto the front of our arm, and then finally the thumb, just do the last part and take it off from there, and that's done, and that's tayammum done. As you can see, only 2 limbs involved, the face and the hands, elbows. So we get to first, let's go back to intention. And here we are intending, and that's the main thing. What is it that you're intending to do? Because with tayammum, you can only get 1 fard act of salah that you pray, 1 tawaf as well. Tawaf is salah, that going circumambulation around the Kaaba. That is a fard act, and you can only do 1 fard act with tayammum, because it is a weak, it is a concession, because there's no water available to do wudu, or also this is a weak form of purification. So we only allowed to do 1 fard. So if you intend fard and nafil, this is the stages. If you do the top level, you include, I'm doing my intention for performing tayammum to purify myself, for performing fard prayer and nafil prayer, then you can do one fard and you can do multiple nafils. So you can pray Salat Dhuhr, let's say, Dhuhr, and then with that you can pray many sunnats, the two before, the two after, you can pray that. However, if you just intend fard, you can do one fard, and you can still do multiple nafil even though you did not intend it. It comes underneath, it is included. So you can do nafil as well for both of these. However, if you intend the nafil prayer only, like let's say Salat Duha, the mid-morning prayer, this is before Dhuhr. If you intend just you perform your tayammum just for that, you cannot pray a fard now with that because your intention was at a lower level. Any lower level intention, you cannot do anything that's above it. So remember, one fard prayer or one fard tawaf, as well as then multiple nafil tawaf, multiple tawaf as well, or even nafil prayers as well. And at the bottom, you can only do that one nafil. You can do many, so that will just be many. Yeah. However, you can also just do for purification, just so then you're in a state of purity, because you want to touch the Quran, or you're going to read the Quran. So you're able to do that. But then with that, you'd only be able to do that and nothing from the above, not even. So if you have it for just purification, just purification purpose. But what I mean is specifically that for touching the Quran, you're doing it, or a sajda tilawat, sajda shukr, you then will not be able to do even a nafil salah with that. So the lower the intention is, then you can only do that specific. But if you have a greater intention at the top, then it's more inclusive, then you can do multiple things. So nawaitu at-tayammum, you can do nawaitu fara'id at-tayammum, nawaitu istibahata, istibahata fard as-salah, or istibahata nafl as-salah, and istibahata muftaqirin ila as-salah, or nawaitu istibahata muftaqirin ila at-tuhr. So there's many types of intentions. Of course, you're doing it in the heart, you know what you wanting to intend, whether it's a fard prayer and then nafil with it, or even if you just intend the fard, the nafil is going to be inclusive anyway. As all actions are by intention. So you know in your heart what it is. It's sunnah just to say it by tongue, just to reinforce it, and you know exactly what you're saying, so you're not absent-minded at that moment. Now, some examples also can be, so if you have a tawaf when you entering Makkah, Haram Sharif, may Allah give us all ticket to go there. As we saw the Hajj this year, how it was all in nice system, kind of fashion. Of course, there was no invitation for anyone outside of the sacred lands, as everybody only in Saudi Arabia can go this year. So we ask Allah that He gives us the opportunity to go. So anyway, tawaf, when we do tawaf ifadah, and that's a tawaf that we during the Hajj, that's the obligatory act that we need to do, then that's a fard act. So if you had to do tayammum, then you could do that if you had the fard intention. And also you could do a tawaf at-tahiyya, so the greetings to the Kaaba, the greetings to the masjid, this house of Allah, that we can do a nafil tawaf there and a fard tawaf. You can combine. You do a fard salah, a fard prayer with tayammum, and then tawaf as well. No, there's two fard acts, you can't do it in that scenario. Can you do a tawaf, one fard, one like ifadah in Hajj time, and tawaf fard for umrah? Can you do umrah one and a Hajj one? You can't do two tawafs because there's two fard acts. We intentionally can only do one. So you have to perform tayammum again for the next one. You can also sometimes do the intention just for a khutbah. So if you do, because that's a fard, it's like a fard act, and if you intend to do a khutbah, then you can't pray. So that your intention became more specific, then you can't do a fard salah with it. So make the intention, at a general level from the top. And also, if someone is in a state of menstruation or they've had relations with a husband or wife, then they need to do ghusl, but there's no water available, so they're going to do tayammum to be in a state of purity. That's just to get them in a state of purity. So there's that first. but then also, then are you intending to do a fard salah with that same tayammum? Yes, you can do, as long as your intention is there. So that's the first part, which is intention. Next one, which is wiping the face. We've shown the demonstration for that. And again, we said the fifth thing was the transfer of earth to your face. It's not that you're just walking, it's a dusty place, and this earth dust is like a sandstorm or something possibly, and it's just coming in your face. And if you just intended that, I'm doing tayammum, wiping my face, that's not sufficient. It's trying to just remove that. You actually have to hit yourself, strike the earth, and then put it on your face. So that transfer of earth onto your face, that is not included here. So that's what we're saying with wiping the face here now. So we wipe the face, then we wipe the hands, and then the order as we saw. And then once we do that, now we go on to the Sunnah acts. So this is the recommended acts that are rewarding. We get rewards for performing the Sunnah, following the Prophet ﷺ as he did. So the first thing is obviously to say Bismillah. Anything without a Bismillah in it is an act with blessings reduced. So let's always say Bismillah in any good thing that we continue and do. Right before left, as normal as well. We start with the right as I showed and demonstrated. Before you do the left side of your arm, that's only for the arm. For the face, it's just that one, isn't it? You strike it together. And number 3 is continuation. That we continue, that we, just like in wudu as well, we continue that we're doing this whole sequences. Then we have other sunnahs as well. So if you have a ring, you need the ring to be removed. It's a sunnah to remove that. If you don't remove it, then it's going to be wajib. Like if you struck it on the first time, then on your second strike, then it'll be wajib to remove the nail. Then you need, because first strike is to do with the face, and that's fine. But the second strike is also actually for the hand, and water. The dust has to go in every single part of the hand. So then it'll be wajib for you to remove it, it'll be obligatory for you to remove that ring. So do the first time around in sunnah, get a reward for that. When you strike the earth, make sure it's not closed. Make sure your whole hand, like the whole hand, is open, so it's this greater surface area that dust can go in every single part of it. And not to put a lot of dust on the hands. So again, you can strike it off a little bit and then wipe it on your face. Facing the qibla, and then to exceed as well, as we say, ghurra, tahjeel. Like in wudu, the more you do, the more you cover, and you'll be shining bright and light on the day. On that day that we need light, and Muslims, that will be one of the trademarks, that look at them shining bright from all these limbs that they used to perform wudu and tayammum. And we don't, so not to do it 3 times, you're only doing it once. Strike once, face. Strike second time, arms, right, left, that's it. And then we go on to the nullifiers. What nullifies tayammum, and anything that breaks wudu breaks tayammum. So you don't go and see the video with what breaks ablution, then you can find that there. Existence of water. Now the person, tayammum is for the person there's no water available, and also for the person who is ill, because they're ill, and if they use water, then it just prolongs their sickness and their illness, for example, so it makes things worse. So those 2 types of people who then tayammum is permissible, and they can follow this procedure. But it's only for the first one applicable, the one who has no water, there is no water to be found, that if water is now in his knowledge that, oh, there is water, or he comes across water, then yeah, now tayammum would break. Now you can perform wudu and perform your act of worship. As for the person who is ill, the water is there anyway, but so water being there is not, it's already there, so it doesn't make a difference. So it's only for the first one who had no water, that when water comes, then water is available, then it nullifies tayammum. And here also, like, so if you started in prayer and then you heard the taps, like let's say this is in a masjid as well. So if before the prayer water is if before the prayer water is come, exists now, then tayammum will be nullified. But if you were in prayer now and there was nothing, there's no water available, you started in prayer and then you came to your knowledge that there's water available, then it'll nullify it, as long as if you didn't do a survey. So you have to do a survey and actually have to go out and see if there's any water available in the surrounding area. So if it's in a place that an urban area, a city, like where water is mostly available, but for that moment there's a water shortage, water is cut off. We used to have that in Egypt as well. There would be times when there would be no water available. But alhamdulillah, when we used to go to the masjid, only the masjid, for some reason, subhanAllah, only the water coming into the taps of the masjid would be available. But all the other surrounding apartments and block of flats and apartments, they would have no water. So we would actually have to all go and take our buckets and take water back from there. So it was amazing that the water for the masjid, there was always there. It wasn't cut off for some reason. So if you're in a masjid, let's say, and there is no water available in the whole area, city, normally it is available, but it's not, then if it becomes available, then you would have to repeat the prayer. However, it was in a desert where mostly water is not present, but then now it's suddenly available, and you've done your search already, and then there's no need to repeat the prayer. So this is saying that you started in that area with tayammum, you started praying, and you did tayammum because there was no water available in a place where normally water is, and the water suddenly comes, then you repeat the prayer. But do it with wudu properly then. But if there was a place like in the desert, in a place where there's no water usually available, then if suddenly water comes available, then you do not repeat the prayer that you've already prayed. And finally, leaving Islam. So if someone leaves Islam, then tayammum will be nullified. So we leave it here, and then the last part is just the specific thing of bandages, when you use bandages, because in all of these things, when you perform tayammum and you perform the prayer, then you don't have to repeat the prayer. But however, if it's in a case of having a plaster on an area where you need to, you can't perform wudu, or you can't do ghusl, if you need to perform ghusl, and now the bandage is covering an area of your body that needs to be washed. Of course, for ghusl, any part of the whole body has to be washed. So if you have a bandage and it's covering an area, and you can't take it off, because if you take it off, then it's going to cause harm, and this is doctor's advice, then you perform tayammum. So in this case, the specific area of bandages, we'll speak on that next time.